So, as you may all know, Mike Nesmith passed away over a week ago. Member of the Monkees, the tall, silent one, the tall, serious one. Actually, it was quite funny, but he was that guy in the group that was sort of the sinister, the most sinister, brooding, the thinker, the, you know. He was the one that I always thought was my favorite until I connected with Peter on the other side. And then they're all my favorite. And I love the Monkees almost, and I would say almost just as much as I love the Beatles. They had just as much relevance in the music world, to their fans, to history, comedy. They were very much like the Beatles. Um, and we're all very talented. And I know they got in trouble for being called the fake uh, four, but Mike was very talented songwriter, guitarist, musician. Peter was too. All of them were talented, all of them. Anyway, when he passed, I remember thinking, he's happy. He was ready. He knew he was going to go. Um, this last year, I believe that he had some notions, intuitive nudges that it was his time to go. And look at this This is the picture that I saw last week. And you can see the light in his eyes. And I said, he's home and he's happy and he's at peace. So as I sit here in the morning drinking my coffee, I started to channel him, not even on purpose. I was just thinking about him, and I started to pick up his voice and some information. So I thought I would share it. So first of all, the thing was that he's happy. He's home and he's happy and he's at peace. He was ready. He did know. I would say in the last 3 or 4 months, he knew, and he was ready. He'd done everything. He had accomplished everything. And he knew that every mountain that there was to climb, he had climbed. And now he wanted to see what was on the other side. He was ready. He's at peace with it. It wasn't like, oh, one of my cats is ripping up the house. Stop. Oh, well, that was something he said he was ready to see his mother, family, any family was on the other side, pets, dogs, and he actually said cars. Now, I've never thought about cars on the other side, but he showed me in a motorbike. He said he's zooming on the other side. He's zooming around everywhere. But that there could be cars on the other side, just like a pet. Now, cars don't have souls, but in a way they do. And he just showed me Christine, the movie Christine. It's not like that, but cars do have the energy of your love, of your youth. So I think that represents it mostly, is it was his youth came back to him. Now, when Peter died, Peter and I spent months together, and I think it was to help him to go to the other side, to help his journey. Because when he died, he was not ready. He was very upset. It was traumatic for him, the way he died of cancer. And he had fought so hard, and he wasn't ready to go. But he's all good now. He's like all 100% in the light, 100% back to himself, only without a physical body. When Mike left, he was ready. And when he went there, he was like, let's go. He was ready to be there. And new life, everything, all happy. He shed all this old age and everything, which he was happy to be that patriarchal figure to everyone. But it was hard. Getting old was hard. What a bummer. He spent a lot of his life kind of being a contrarian and rebelling. If you said, we want you to do this, he was like, well, I'm not going to do that. Now that you said you want me to do it, I don't want to do it, because now it's against my wishes and makes me feel uncomfortable and makes me feel like you're trying to put one on over me. And, please yourself. Don't ask me to please you. But as he got older and he saw how much the Monkees, meant to people, and how much they had meant in society and in that time of the 60s of the war and everything, he really came to feel like it was a joy and a pleasure to bring happiness to other people and to share his gift, his music gift, which it was a gift. And so he was glad for his older age that he was able to be this figure, not only for fans, but for his family and for his children, for his grandchildren. The man they all leaned on. A man of wisdom. I was always an old man in a young man's body. And I grew into myself. But it was a drag. Getting older and having sickness and having issues. Issues with his body, limbs, eyes, hands, etc. That was hard. That was really hard. And it was upsetting. Now, he showed me something where he says he was neurodivergent. He said he had elements of being autistic. And that was one reason why when people would say, oh, he's this, he's the silent one, or he's this, he said he was autistic a little bit. And that one thing where he would wear the beanie, which made him stand out, he really did it to push his hair down, is what he's telling me. And he says it was silly. Sometimes he hated that stupid hat. But he did it to push his hair down. But the real thing was, it was an autistic trait. Like his comfort. And also it was like it was a comfort, and it was to protect his head, and it was also to hide him a little bit. So yeah, it was like an autistic, like a stem thing for him, a protection. Anything else? Anything else? He didn't believe in certain things of the other side, and then aliens and all that. And he says he believes it now. He believes it now. He was very rigid in certain beliefs that he had grown up with. Oh, that was the thing. But so now he believes in a lot now. It's all been revealed. It's all very interesting. And he's telling me that he was a genius, and he hid that a lot because he didn't like the stigma of people sort of seeing him that way and playing with him that way and having a piece of him. And he really wanted to be cool. He wanted to be like James Dean. He wanted to be this James Dean musician, and he didn't want to be he had inherited it from his mother. His mother, he sang Mensa, and this genius ability she had to invent anything, and it was almost like alienish. And he says bionic man. I was like the bionic man. Stuff would just come to me. So when he's saying bionic, he's like, almost like a robot, a computer brain. And that's that, almost like the autism thing, like Einstein. He didn't like the stigma because he wanted to be cool. He wanted to be like, it's all cool, man. I rebelled against that. He could have used it much more than he did. He feels like things came to him so easy. It was almost like alien type of, weirdness. He knew a lot. He knew much more than he ever said that he knew. Came off being cold. But that's not the way it is, man. I always took everything so hard. I had to process everything in my own way, in my own time. And I didn't like being anyone's fool. Sometimes I came off controlling. But again, it was just trying to filter and deal with several different emotions mixed with his extreme intelligence. It was hard for him. He used humor as a way to deflect, but also deal with, everything that, how difficult it was to deal with, all this influence of other people and other people's views and opinions. Humor was his saving grace. And what did he tell me about? Who on the other side? Who on the other side? Elvis. He says Elvis. I wanted to be Elvis. We all wanted to be Elvis. And Mike, how did you feel about being a monkey overall? I mean, you got picked. It was a big deal, but then that sort of made you ostracized the rest of your life in some way. But the benefits outweighed the bad. I was going nowhere fast. I was overwhelmed. I needed the buddy system, but as much as I hated it and wanted to be on my own, and did eventually go on my own, it came at the right time in my life to get me through a hurdle. I was pissing people off left and right, leaving a bad taste in everyone's mouth. He's hard to work with. He's this, he's that. The monkeys helped show that I had a sense of humor and that I could be lighthearted and play along with the system. I'm not that bad. He says he feels very lucky. He had a blessed life, a beautiful life. Fatherhood was the other or more important thing in his life that was beautiful and a gift, and it outweighs everything else. And he'd do it all again. Only he would. Only he would maybe try to have some more independence, I just couldn't get out of this sort of thing that he was locked in, a shell that he had. Anything else? I feel it wrapping up here. It was a great time to be alive. And some beautiful memories, some beautiful times. That's about it. I think you could see in his eyes. The light in his eyes. I remember seeing that with John McCain after he passed. You can see when someone has this elevated, beautiful soul, and he really did. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.